Welcome back my friends. In this week's video, let's talk about something less technical and not finance related. Something more relevant in the current state we are in, the emotions majority are feeling. So just a context for people not in Singapore, we're in heightened alerts since May, and most people are working from home now. In today's topic, I want to cover on mental health and happiness, because there's a need to stay positive and strong mentally if you want to get things done. I'm covering this topic because part of why I started this channel is because I want to challenge conventional way of doing things, the social norms, and the status quo. I want to encourage people to take the leap of faith, to do something challenging and daring. Life is not just about this predetermined path of going to school, get a qualification, work your ass off till you are 65, and enjoy life afterwards. I came across this article from CNN Lifestyle saying that the dominant emotions that we are feeling in 2021 is languishing. So what exactly is languishing? It is not depression because you don't feel hopeless. It is not burnout either because you still have energy. Languishing is a sense of stagnation and emptiness, where you have this sort of meh feeling. You feel aimless and joyless, but not because you're unhappy. I then came across another article about this lady named Jane, who got into a good JC, studied in NUS, had a $7,000 per month career, husband who was an Air Force pilot. They lived in a condo, had a car, had everything they thought that would make them happy, but it didn't. She got divorced and she decided to travel around the world to be a digital nomad. She previously had a successful life that many of us Singaporeans would have dreamed of, but she commented that this kind of success was what the society wanted and not her. She was eventually overwhelmed by the toxic benchmark of what happiness looks like, and then decided to just get out of Singapore. When she was in China learning about businesses, she realized how small of a bubble we Singaporeans live in. I'll link the two articles below for a reference. My first thoughts on reading these two articles are that you, your friend and family, people around you are feeling unfulfilled, and it is more common than you think. Especially us Asians are not really that communicative due to parenting. Hence a lot of unhappiness are not even voiced out to begin with. I started to question why does school not teach about what money is, how to create value, how to run business, and how to deal with people, or even how to regulate our own emotions. I mean, this is exactly why people feel unfulfilled and unhappy, because they don't understand what they are doing all this for. They don't understand what money is fundamentally, and they just keep exchanging their precious time for money. They don't understand how to deal with people and their own emotions, which leads to a lot of toxicity and failed relationships. As for myself, I'm probably feeling the most of languishing right now. I made some money and decided to change my whole perspective of life after learning about new things, focusing on bringing value to others by sharing what I know. I started this YouTube channel from the ground bottom, not knowing anything about video productions. While friends my age are working, I'm building a channel from zero during this pandemic. So yes, there are definitely times I don't feel myself, and I gave deep thoughts about what happiness is. I have then used that to help me regulate myself. So today I'll be sharing my thesis on happiness. I guess the number one thing when it comes to happiness is really to appreciate the little things and practice gratitude. So for example, if you don't get to travel during this pandemic, or you don't land the next promotion, or worse still, you get a huge pay cut, what you can do is to appreciate that at least everyone in your family is safe and sound, food is still on your table, and you still have shelter over your head during these tough times. You can also think about where you were a few years ago and how things have drastically improved for you now. Happiness can be found in the simple and inexpensive things, like the conversation that you really want to have with someone that understands you, or even satisfies simple cravings and so on. There is a misconception that you will find happiness at the end destination, like buying that fancy car or the big house or an expensive vacation. Happiness is more of a state of mind. It is a process or journey that matters more than the destination. I know that because when I was young, I really wanted a Rolex for myself, and when I finally got it, it was just a day of happiness and I didn't feel anything after that. Which is also why I told myself to not jump in the rabbit hole of materialism. Number 2, it is to change your perspective when you're really upset over an issue. An example of a common problem I see is the children blaming their parents for not being able to afford them a college education or overseas exchange. They are unhappy with their parents not planning for their financial journey and causing a sandwich generation for them, the kids. This is a real life example, and this was the advice I gave to my friend, which I told him I have seen rich parents not having enough time to spend with their children. I then asked my friend if his parents have sent him to school on a day-to-day basis, and he said yes. I told him that is a luxury some children that is materially well off do not have. I also asked if his parents have shown him unconditional love, which he hesitantly said yes. I then proposed that some people have their parents divorced, and to the people who are watching whose parents have divorced, there are some kids in Siberia who lost their home due to the war. There are always going to be people that have better or worse condition as compared to you. It is all a matter of perspective. Changing your perspective over an issue that upsets you helps you to overcome the problem. So number 3, it is to work on a purpose bigger than yourself. What do I mean exactly by that? This takes a bit of soul searching. I believe that we are not meant to just work for someone else and die. We all take interest in things, we all have hobbies. Find something that you naturally gravitate towards and feel compelled to do. When you think that the purpose is something greater than yourself, you will enjoy the process of the grind. You'll work harder, you'll have greater resilience, and most importantly, you'll be a lot prouder of what you're doing with your life. So take a step back and ask yourself what that is, find it and just do it. Number 4, it is to be control of what you can control. I'll play a clip of Jordan Peterson giving a lecture on the reason for almost all mental illnesses.
And the reason I think that is because sometimes people's lives become so complex that they'd rather be dead. And the reason they seek death through suicide is to make the complexity go away. Because complexity causes suffering if it's uncontrolled. You know, things just get beyond your control. And that can happen, you know, if you're hit by 3 or 4 catastrophes at the same time. You know, maybe you have, the political system collapses, there's hyperinflation, you lose your job and you have someone that you love or 2 people die and maybe you get cancer, something like that. Like that, those things happen to people and they just think, well, there's no getting out of this, like it's just too much.
What we learn by watching this is that complicated situations that we cannot control causes suffering. What we can do about it is to apply all of the above I've mentioned, appreciate the little things, change of perspective, get your life back by doing activities that radiates positive energy, such as working out or even healthy eating. Take back the control and be on the steering wheel. Okay, with that I end off today's video. What do you guys think about it? Should I do more content like this, or should I just focus on investment and finance? Let me know in the comments below. If you think I didn't do a bad job covering this topic, do help me out by clicking the like button and subscribing to my channel. I'll see you next week.